All right, all right. We have Craig Campbell's back on the show. Thanks for showing back up.
No worries. Always a pleasure. We always get good feedback from. Well, I've certainly good feedback from the last two. So, yeah, back to the third.
Over 3,000. You hold the record for views on one of my videos right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know, 3,200 or 3,100 or something like that. I think it's close to 3,200. So you must be doing something right, or everybody just thinks you're that damn sexy.
One or the other, but I can see, and I'm an honest guy, and yeah, I'm certainly not Brad Pitt, so it must be something else.
So I want to talk about high-level conversion rate optimization, which is a whole bunch. I've been getting a whole bunch of feedback from people that's what they want to talk about. And that's why I reached out to you I think it was last week, and I said, let's do a show about conversion rate optimization.
Yeah.
So are you ready?
Yep.
Let's go through them because it's 30 hacks for conversion rate optimization. I want to go through each one and talk about each one separately or individually and see what we both come up with.
Let's do it.
Cool. So let's start off with number one. Number one, your landing pages should never be the same. Use solution-based marketing, one page per solution. How do you feel about that one?
I would agree. I think, if it was all going to be repetitive, I get what people would do. Designers will say, have them all the same, have the same layout, blah, 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 blah. But no two things can really be the same. And I think, you've got different calls to actions available for different pages or different products or services. So why the hell can you work from the same template, if you like? So for me,
what we tend to see in the agency side, and I know you do a lot more from the affiliate side, and that's where I'm kind of moving to, is a company will be dealing with a client, and for some reason that client thinks that their homepage should just receive all of the clicks to their page, right? And they'll run some Google ads. They'll get everybody to their homepage, and it really isn't optimized because somebody shows up to their homepage and they're seeing all of the different things that they offer, right? And that tends to make that visitor check out. So the idea behind that is, if you're selling some sort of a cream, right? Some sort of a whatever that is, and it treats athlete's foot and rashes and all of this other stuff. You don't want somebody that has a rash on their head to be reading that it treats athlete's foot, right? Two completely different.
My head feel itchy just now mentioning it.
And I think that's a big issue within conversion rate optimization, and we're seeing that generally when we would take on a new client, their percentages were roughly about 2%, which is 100% more generally than their email marketing campaigns. But at the same time, how do we get them from 2% to 5, 6, 7, 8%, right? Yeah. And I think that the people that are watching this or that will watch this, they're in that 2% range. Okay. Ready for number two?
Yeah.
Match your creative assets. Now I brought this up on your show here a minute ago, but matching your creative assets, don't confuse your audience after the click. So 8 out of 10 people engage with the content based on the title. And then 2% engage all the way to the decision phase of making a decision based on that initial title. So if your ad is saying, 8 ways to reduce X, Y, Z, and then they click to your page and it says best foot cream, right, or whatever it is, there's a really good chance that they're going to leave because they don't think that they landed in the right place.
Yeah. But I think that's a common sense one. Why would you? And I know you're going to say this does happen a lot, but for me, when I seen that question come up in the live chat, I'm like, I genuinely thought, is he for real? Is he trying to wind us up? Like, do people actually not, land people, and keep that shit kind of, uniformed, if you like, and maybe they do, and I think a lot of people do that. But for me, it's common sense. Why would you?
You'd be amazed if you click on, I'm going to give two examples, not because I'm picking on them specifically, but if you click on something or click through an ad from, let's say, the Hoff
Mm-hmm.
or Authority, I think it's called Authority Hackers
Uh-huh.
or Authority Builders or whatever,
Yeah.
their ads never match the landing page,
Mm-hmm.
which is amazing to me because they're spending some serious amount of money in
Yeah.
getting people onto the page. And then you get there and you're like, what am I looking at? Yeah, I'm totally confused.
Yeah. It's like you see it yourself as well. Like I've seen, you scroll through Facebook or whatever, and you see like just like an advert, like 10 ex Hollywood stars who now have a day job, for example,
Mhm.
and you click on it just out of curiosity to see what the hell's going on, and then you land on this page and it's all ads and all this other weird stuff, and you're just like, man, what is this? This is just horrendous.
How
Um,
how often do you leave as a visitor? Now you're in our industry. How often do you look at that page, click through that page, and then leave immediately because it wasn't what you were demanding as a consumer?
well, every time, and the thing is, for me, I want things to be clear, concise, and easy for me to do. I don't want to go on a page and, if I'm relaxing, scrolling through, looking for whether it's foot cream or whether it's, whatever, I just want it to be simple and easy. I don't want any hassle, and I don't want any kind of things popping up and, all of that stuff. Just keep it simple and clean and tidy. That's all I ask for, and relevant to what I'm actually clicking on.
I think you just gave away one of my upcoming hacks.
Sorry.
So number three was show proof, the as seen on, use testimonials, and build trust. And what happens is normally we'll go, and I'm going to give us four examples of websites at the end, and good, bad, and ugly, right? As far as what we're going through from this list, but building value, we're not salespeople as marketers. When somebody comes to us, they don't know who we are, they don't trust us, and we have to build that trust in a very meaningful way. Is that a fair statement?
Yep.
So, who in your mind in our industry does that extremely well, other than you?
um, Matthew Woodward's is one that I've always liked. I think transparent with case studies and earnings and through stuff through affiliates. So he's one that I've followed for a number of years, and I think he does it really well.
I think he does an amazing job. The one that came to mind was, in my mind, was Diggity, Matt Diggity.
Diggity, yeah.
I think Matt is just an expert at staying on course, making it, he just has an amazing way to get people to buy into what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because he's not pushy. And then, the one that takes it over the line in my mind, and I always pick on him all the time, is Neil Patel. Because he draws you in and then he just starts slamming stuff down your throat.
Yeah.
After you're there and you're like, hey, you know what, dude? I'm just totally turned off.
But for me, I'll give you a hack. The art of selling what we sell is not to sell.
Sure, absolutely. It's providing a solution, but getting people to emotionally buy into the solution that you're providing to solve their problem, right?
Yeah.
And meet them where, and we'll get into that too. Let's see. Number four was nobody wants to be the first person to buy, right? So,
Yeah.
as sad as it sounds, you go into anything, especially e-commerce. I tell everybody, go in and buy your own products.
Mm-hmm.
And buy them from different sources, right? And give yourself testimonials. Some people will actually use fake creatives or fake visuals to show hundreds of reviews or whatever that looks like. I don't know if I'd really recommend that, but don't make somebody be the first one.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense. If there's nothing going on there, personally, I would be like, oh, like, am I actually going to get this product?
Sure.
Uh,
And that includes like going to Facebook when you go to somebody's Facebook page for a product page and nobody likes it.
yeah,
Nobody's liked it yet. And you're like, this must not be any good. You know what I mean? It could have just come out yesterday, but I don't know. Yeah, don't be
It's
the first one.
Nah, don't be the first one. I think you've got to somehow fudge that up if you like. I'm with you. Don't go out and do hundreds of fake reviews to the point where it looks ridiculous. But yeah, just give people a little bit of trust that you are in business currently and that product's going to arrive.
Sure. All right. So number 5, or I think we're at number 6. So make it short and sweet. Give them their answers. Use bullet points. What's the importance of points within conversion rate optimization?
I think bullet points, obviously allows you to highlight, in a short way, without all the waffle and all the sales fluff, the key or the unique selling points of the kind of product or service or whatever it is you're doing. Rather than hordes of text. Like you or me, we probably skim read, just go, right, that does that does that, and that, this is foot cream, it treats athlete's foot, and whatever, that's it. That's all we need to know. So I think just keeping it short, concise, and to the point, because that's all we really want. We just need to know we're on that right path.
So in my mind, from the standpoint of CRO, when somebody goes to a website, the very first thing that they want to do is they want to match their intent of search. Once they get to the website, they say, does it do all of these things?
Yeah.
And if they can't see that extremely clearly, they're not going to go into the storytelling part. They're going to hit the back button. They're going to go somewhere else because they don't feel that it's actually going to do what they need it to do.
Yeah.
So in one of the things, when I'm talking to people, when I'm looking at their landing pages or I'm looking at anything, I tell them that with maybe not at the top of fold content, but the very next third of that page, or 1920 by 1080, they need to clearly state that the person is here for the right reasons. Is that fair?
Yeah. 100%.
All right. Most people argue with the next one. And let me see what your thoughts are. Use a single call to action. Don't confuse your visitors.
Again, yeah, I think that's a sensible option. Having multiple calls to action can lead people, to different things. If you're selling a product or whatever, then we only need one call to action, really. We don't need sign up forms or anything else to distract people from buying.
So one of the things that we realize, not even in product-based selling, but just on the agency side, that as soon as we gave somebody related topics, say in a blog post, it might keep them there, but it took away from their original user experience of what you wanted them to do within, say, your funnel, right? Your conversion funnel, that you were leading them away from making a decision at some point.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So the next one is, it actually goes hand in hand with that, was guide your visitors through user experience to do what you want them to do. And I think that's where a whole bunch of websites miss. If we're looking at the agency side, the agency side, their clients are going to specialize in 3 to 5 to 10 to whatever different things, if it's non-e-commerce based.
Yep.
And getting them into a funnel which is going to allow you to build value digitally in order to exchange information, even if they're not making a purchase, but building enough value to give you their email.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think that, again, building that funnel is important, and not every sale is a instant sale. You've got to build that funnel and encourage people or offer value or whatever. People are at different stages in their buyer journey, or when they're looking at your website, and trying to get them into that funnel to then nurture them to eventually get a sale or whatever it might be, of course, is massively important. Again, it's not every lead's going to convert. Now, probably 95% of people that land on a website bounce off and never come back again. So it's about trying to capture as much of that 95% that are just fucking off, and trying to get it into a funnel to see what else you can get to convert.
And I think we talk about that in one of these, but so I don't want to give that away. But we're going to talk about targeting, retargeting, getting people there, and not necessarily keeping them there, but staying in front of them, which is by far probably one of the most important aspects of conversion. Number 8 is a trick, right? So as we're going through I mentioned this to people and they're like, what? I mean, they're like, really? You're doing what? Like, seriously? So number 8 is always have a phone number to call, be available, make it toll free. Now,
Mm-hmm.
here's how I do this. I'm going to do this with affiliate marketing, and I don't know if it'll work again because I don't really do a whole bunch of affiliate marketing. But generally, what we would tell people is always offer a phone number with a click to call, and then use something like Twilio. I think it's Twilio, right? So you use
Yeah.
Twilio, and then within that voicemail, say, "Hey, you caught us. We're not currently open, or we're busy with other clients at this time, and we're just experiencing high call volume. So hit us on email at engage at whatever the brand name is." And then you'll see those people who wanted to talk to somebody, they'll actually send an email out, and now you've captured their email, you've captured their data.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the biggest nuggets that I'm going to share out of all of these. But when
Mm-hmm.
I tell people that, I never answer the phone.
Ah,
Literally never answer the phone. And you really can't when you have 25 different companies, right? So the value of that phone number is huge.
yeah.
Do you
Uh,
do that with any of your sites?
I don't. I'm not going to lie and sit here and say I do. But yeah, I could get why that would make sense to you and why you'd potentially use that method to kind of weed out the shit, and anyone who is clearly interested would follow up with that email, and they're potentially hot in the funnel for you, if you like. So it's like I don't do it myself, but yeah, I just don't have the need to do it because I think for me, on a personal level, affiliate marketing and just people inquiring to me go through to someone else anyway, so they filter that out for me and do that kind of just a different process for me. But I think
Sure.
it's a good one for sure.
All right, number 9, use FAQ pages on your checkout pages to increase your averages. And a checkout page being the consideration leading into the decision phase. What are your thoughts on that? Because we always tend to put FAQ pages right there in front. Then they get through the process, or they get into the next process, and then they start having questions.
Yeah.
So maybe not from an affiliate page standpoint, but in a more traditional website.
I mean, it's not something I've actually tried, to be honest. I've never even thought about it, if I'm being honest. I mean, normally when I'm adding FAQs, it is much earlier in the journey, just to, grab the kind of answer boxes and, and whatnot. That's the reason I would be adding FAQs, also to help users when they're looking at the generic page. But yeah, sometimes you do have questions, and I don't think that would be such a bad thing to add where you're suggesting the ad. But it's not something I've actually got experience in actually testing that particular type of CRO. But yeah, I think now that you mention it, it makes perfect sense to potentially at least try that and see. It's something you can test and
So,
see if it has any impact.
so I'll share a real experience with one of our clients that runs a fairly large e-commerce site, that the conversions went up over 80% when we added an FAQ section to their cart page, if you will,
Mhm.
right? So they put it in their cart. They were looking at all of these other things, and you've done this too, I'm sure, where you are on whatever website, say Amazon, and you put this in your cart, this in your cart, you put 5 different things in your cart, and then you get to your cart and you're like, I don't know if I don't remember if I really need that.
Yeah.
Right? Or here's 2 different products. And it was kind of nice that as we started going through, and this client had a lot of very similar products, but one of the things that we did was we increased their average order value, or their average customer sale, by explaining the process in an FAQ that was more designed for us to increase the purchase, right,
Mm-hmm.
from the e-commerce side. So we would say in an FAQ, people buy this for this area, this area, and this area. As an example, they buy one and they put one on their boat, they buy one, put one in their car, and then they keep one in their house. And, here's a related product of a 3-pack that meets that FAQ section. And all of a sudden, you're tripling your average customer sale instead of them just buying one,
Yeah.
because they've already made it to the checkout page, so that we know. So now we know that they're actually in the decision phase or of that buyer's journey.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it makes perfect sense to look at it. Obviously, you've had success with it, but now that you've said it, it's certainly something that people should definitely at least try, take action, try it out, and see what it does for your website.
So that ties into the next one, which was using audio and video on the checkout pages from an e-commerce standpoint, that does like a testimonial video. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever seen any of those?
Do you know what? I've not actually seen that before.
So what we would do is we would reach out and do like a Fiverr gig of a product review,
Mm-hmm.
put that into the checkout section. So if it's something that's very narrow, so let's use the CBD space as an example. If you have somebody that you could pay a doctor to make a video and talk about the benefits of CBD products, put that within the checkout page, and then it just reinforces that buying decision. It gives
Yeah.
somebody added value or added confidence.
So what would it be? So say for example, I was buying CBD oil, and I get to the checkout and I'm just about to pay for it and go ahead. Up pops this little video, and what would the doctor say? Like, this is the
It's a
benefit
rein
for
it's a
you, or-
it's a reinforcement video, because when you look at everything from an e-commerce standpoint, even if it's services, whether it's services or product based, what we tend to see is it's a third, a third, a third, right? So a third are just going to pull the trigger and they're going to buy it. A third are kind of, they're either going to experience buyer's remorse, or they're going to get all the way up to the point where they press the purchase button, and then they want all of their questions answered, or they're not sure if they're actually making, the right decision. So they
Mhm.
haven't built up enough value. We tend to see that a lot with female customers. I'm not trying to pick on women, but women tend to get all the way through the process, and then they get to that checkout page, and they're having to reconvince themselves that they're making the right decision. So when we put a testimonial video of, and we actually will reward clients with product that are actual customers, have them make a testimonial video. And then when they get to the checkout page, they're like, hey, I've been using their products for 6 months or 8 months or 10 months or whatever that is. And I've really, felt a great benefit from XYZ.
Mhm.
And you'd be amazed at how many people watch those videos. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally, by the time you get there, it's just under half, roughly about 46%, 46% of the people who get to the checkout page will watch that video and then make the commitment to purchase.
No, I think that's a neat tip. Again, not one I actually thought, not that I actually thought of, and that's the great thing about listening to other people in the industry. People are trying all sorts of weird stuff, but it makes perfect sense. Again, when you say it, why wouldn't that work? Why would that not improve conversions?
And they're generally free, because if you tap into your warm market of your customers that you already have, and you offer them free product to be able to make a testimonial about the stuff, yeah, I mean, they're real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't have customers, you can reach out to like Fiverr and pay somebody 5, 10, 15 bucks to make a review of your product. But once you have a few products, it tends to be or a few customers, it tends to be a pretty easy process at that point.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. I think that's a golden nugget there. I think that could also beat the one that you mentioned earlier with the call. I think that's also a very good golden nugget. I like that one.
This one actually applies, I think, to affiliate marketing. The next one is creating causation through emotion-based decision. So now they're there, right? And what I tend to see on websites, and I hate to use bad language on this channel, but not so much the other channel, right? But this one, I go to these websites and I just see absolute dog shit where it's here's what it is, here's a product description, buy.
Yeah.
Okay. But they're actually not going after the emotion based or the solution based marketing where they're given an opportunity that the person has stayed on page. They're still teetering on a decision of whether they value your product enough or service, and you're not giving them the story at that point to create that emotion.
Yeah.
And we all know that most of the purchases start off as I need this, and then the emotional causation moves them over into I need this, I have to have it, right?
Yeah.
So how important is storytelling in affiliate marketing?
I think it's massive. I think, it can't just be buy, but I think it would come down to the niche you're in as well. Obviously, if you're selling something that's just run of the mill, light bulbs or something, then it's probably not hugely important. But as you say, if people are doing a bit of research before buying something, it's not something they buy all the time. I think storytelling does become more important. And probably you've mentioned CBD a few times. I think CBD is still a relatively new thing, and people want to do a bit more research on it, and they do need that storytelling to convince them that this thing works. Because there's obviously much debate over, people say, CBD is a load of garbage, it's this, it's that, it's tastes vile and all that stuff. So I think obviously the storytelling part is massive, and probably even bigger in things like CBD and whatnot, where people are sat in the fence and going, should I try this because I heard everyone else saying it's really good, and I've been that guy as well. I've tried out CBD. For the record, it's absolutely disgusting, and that the taste of it is what put me off of CBD. But I was looking around, and when I was looking to buy it on websites and stuff, and I was wanting to be told the story of why I should be nudged over the line.
Sure.
So yeah, I think it's massive.
So so that means I have to send you ours. Just
Mhm.
just so you know. I spent and I'm trying to stay on topic, but we spent about a year actually reformulating what everybody else had out on the market. And I hired a chemist to break down all of our competitor products.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you saw any of the pictures online, but like my mother, if you compared their product to our product, and I'm not a fan of the tincture oils, right? And I'm not trying to, push one of my companies, but the capsules are by far, I mean, you're just taking it like a pill,
Yeah.
right? But if you compared, let's say, Charlotte's Web to CV Distillery to Hempworks to all of these huge companies, and you put ours is a refined CBD
Mhm.
oil versus they're using crude. So
Yeah.
they're actually inflating their prices with garbage product. And we actually came into that market with a refined product that's less expensive than their product.
Yeah.
And it as soon as people start taking it, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I was putting that company's stuff in my mouth in comparison to, because I agree with you. It's just fractionated coconut oil or hemp seed oil with whatever the CBD isolate is. And yeah, I don't know.
Surely, when you put it in your mouth, you're like, "Fuck, what is this?" It's just not a nice fucking taste. It's vile. Um, so the
I,
pills, and I've also seen that guys have got jellies and all that other shit that hopefully make it taste better now. But that put me off actually. That
sure.
first taste I've never tried it again.
I'm gonna send you some of our capsules. How about that?
Yeah,
Our
yeah,
our, our capsules are you can't taste anything. But yeah, it's some pretty good stuff. I won't
that
even charge you for it. How about
that is me is always good.
All right. So where did we? So emotion-based decision number 12 was don't oversaturate your interstitial advertising or pop-ups.
That is one of my pet hates.
I
It,
think that's everybody's, right? So I actually brought up what was it, Layla? I think it is Layla weighted blanket. All right, I'm going to share this on my screen, And this is what you see when you first go to their website. And they're a pretty big company. All right. So if I reset or I redo this, it's going to come up with, so there's one interstitial ad. I have to opt in for my GDPR.
Yeah.
Then I think they're going to give me more. So it's probably because I just did it or I reset it, but it literally just does interstitial pop up after interstitial pop up over and over again. And it makes me not want to do any business with them. Is that a
No,
fair statement?
I think so. And one thing in particular that I really fucking hate is that live chat that pops up right away on every, a lot of websites. That is really fucking annoying. I mean, I get the purpose of, they're all annoying, but that live chat thing is really annoying.
So this one earlier for $129 product, I was getting an opt-in up here or up on the left-hand side. I know it's not on my screen, but opt in to allow notifications.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting an interstitial ad. I was getting the live chat and then a pop-up for a 20% off coupon over the top of the original interstitial ad.
It's
And I don't know how, going back to Google was going to start penalizing people for oversaturation. And I don't know if they're doing that yet, but I hope they do.
I hope they do because I don't have anything like that on my website. I do have the push notification thing,
Mhm.
and I think it works reasonably well. I don't think it's too intrusive. People can allow a block it, but I don't have any pop ups, not even to ask for people's emails. And I'm now going to start testing subtly having it in somewhere, but that is absolutely horrendous.
So
What we
what we noticed were two different things. One, if we offered them something for free, whatever that was related to the business. And it could be an e-guide, it could be something, and we would do that as a pop-up and we would do that as a last ditch effort, right? So as
Mhm.
soon as they navigated up to the back button or whatever, we'd say, hey, you know, download our free guide, give us your email. It was kind of a last ditch effort. But what we found is when we put in interstitial advertising right in front of them, as soon as they came to the site, they became immediately disinterested in even being there. And
Yeah,
our traffic or our on page would plummet by almost 60% as soon as we would do interstitial.
yeah.
As far as, at the beginning, right? So when they first got there, because you know what? Nobody really, you're there for a reason, right?
Yeah, you've done the hard part in getting them there.
Yeah,
Why you'll push them away right away?
absolutely.
It is nuts. It is absolute nuts.
So number 13, because we have 30 of these, man. 30. Oh my God. I promised that everybody who watched this video would get something from it.
Mhm.
So I had to make it worth it. So number 13 was using charity donations to find common ground. So if you're selling pet products, offer, that you're giving 5% of the proceeds to something that is relationship based to the emotional reason as to why they chose you.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
Um, I can see why it would work. I personally wouldn't do it. But not because of any particular reason. I think it's one of those suggestions. You're tapping into people's, or pulling at people's heartstrings. And yeah, it's a nice thing to do. But I think business is business, and you don't need to personally, say I'm doing this for charity. Although it's a great thing to do, and I think it will increase conversions. Um, what I feel, and I would argue, is if that becomes a thing, right? Everyone's going to start having fucking fake charities on their website saying
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving this and I'm giving that. And see, to be honest, I already think that happens.
Yep.
You see this, and do I believe it? Now, I might just be you know, one of those guys that just distrusting guy. But I don't. That doesn't trigger me. I think it would start to make me think, are they at it? So that's just a personal choice. But
So
I think,
what we would generally do is we would set up the causation or whatever the cause was, the charity cause that we were giving to, and then we would create a link directly to the page showing that we've made contributions and that we're
yeah,
a verified contributor. And
mhm,
we would use that from the standpoint of building trust and value. And we'd
yeah,
open it up in a separate tab, right?
yeah,
So it wasn't, they had a way to get, back to our site, or they weren't navigating away. But um and you're right, it's that little percentage, right? So how do I
mhm,
get that last little percentage of the woman who chooses us for $2 more for dog treats, as an example, or our client, for $2 more versus the competitor? Well, I feel more confident because they actually care about animals. They're
yeah,
not just doing it for the money.
yeah.
I don't know. That may not translate very well in the affiliate marketing side.
Um, yeah, it's something you would have to try. It's hard to say whether it would work in the affiliate marketing side. I think in general, though, people who are dog lovers, for example, like yourself, would probably convert more if they thought someone was giving that away. So I think it can work really well. Just I think you'll have an element of people like me who are just like, come on, man, you're at
Sure.
it. So
All right, number 14 was over deliver to your customer and make them feel inclusive within your brand. And I think this is something that people fail on miserably. So if we go back to like the HubSpot rule of, awareness, consideration, decision, and delight, if we include, or if we make people feel as if they're part of the brand and part of the family, I think that really, and it's free. That pays off. I think that pays off tremendously.
yeah,
So one of the rules we had, and everybody calls me the kidding Nazi, right? Are you familiar with the term kidding?
yeah,
Okay, so whenever we ship out a product for one of my companies that is actually a product that is shipping,
hmm,
the people who work for me absolutely hate the fact that I'm all about kidding all the time. That
yeah,
when somebody opens up our product, it's like Christmas,
yeah,
right? And it had better be kitted in a way that blows their mind in comparison to whoever the alternative is.
hmm,
And I don't think people do that enough. I don't think they're taking care of the customers and appreciating their customers. And we actually have, and I'll tell on myself, but the one company, the CBD company, every fifth order gets a free product.
ah,
And you'd be amazed that people will, we just include it. And it's just random, right? Because we can't control how the orders are coming in. So those products are, the cheapest product is $65.
hmm,
The most expensive product is $120.
yeah,
So the trick, not trick in a bad way, but the trick is that if somebody orders, say, a tincture oil, or let's say the capsules for $70, and then we throw in a $120 bottle of lotion, which is a big, CBD lotion, they'll send us an email back, or they'll call us, or they'll get a hold of us and they'll say, "I think you did this by mistake." But we actually include a card too. So we include a thank you card with every single order that goes out. Thank you for being about, and they're all handwritten,
yeah,
because that's important to me, that people don't feel like they're buying from Walmart, right? The
yeah,
moment the moment I become Walmart is the moment that I have to meet Walmart at their price level too.
yeah.
So is that a fair one?
I think so. Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I see as to how people can improve their website is surveying their visitors and customers and find out why they're not buying.
Hmm.
Okay. And the way we do that is with a one question survey, right? So instead of, whatever that is, smart feed or whatever that is that you see on the big retailer sites, please take a brief survey, fill out 80 different questions. We ask one, and we'll actually do a pop-up, and we'll say, they're leaving the site. It's a last day chapter. Could you just give us the one reason why you didn't make a decision today? And people will fill that out. It's a one question. And in
Yeah.
return, we'll give you something for that,
Hmm.
because that information is gold for us, because we're getting honest feedback that can actually improve our websites.
I think also the fact that you're making it a one question survey, not 3, 4, 5 questions,
Mhm.
just makes it simple and easy to do. And as you say, I think again, it's a common sense. It's not one I've tried again, but common sense and very simple and easy to implement. Plus, the data you get back, as you say, is worth its weight in gold.
Absolutely. And it's also kind of nice because it gets past the bots. Because the bot isn't going to fill out the survey, so we're actually getting good and genuine information.
Yeah.
Let's see, ABS, always be split testing. So one of the big hurdles that I would have within agency work is we would be performing well. Our conversion rates were 6, 7, 8% sometimes even higher. And I would go back to the client and I'd say, we need to split test what we're doing already with something else, a different idea.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't be in a position where, they would the pushback was hard and heavy because, if it's working, if it's not broke, don't fix it. In my mind, it was, if we're doing an ad for Susie, well, we should be making one for Sally because we don't know what part of the market we're missing.
Mm-hmm.
And this landing page or whatever is getting them to the website could become stale because everybody else is always copying within the industry. And now we always have something fresh that we're split testing.
Yeah. I
So
think,
always be closing in sales, always be split testing in marketing.
yeah. I think it's important. It keeps you sharp. But on top of the game, I think you have to. You've got to split test and do these things because, as you say, if you don't do it, you don't know what you're missing. And I
Mm-hmm.
think for anyone's marketing campaign, I don't care who you are. You've cited Gear Hungry as a website that you like and has done well. Was there anything that they put, maybe missed out on or not done? Probably. If you dug deep enough and tested, there's probably more you could squeeze out of that. So there's no such thing as a perfect website or a perfect page or a perfect this, that, or the next thing. So I think there's always, always, always room for improvement. And yeah, split testing on this type of stuff is vital because, again, I like guys, so many, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but there's a lot of CRO guys and stuff that make decisions and they're not using data to make those decisions or not using testing data. They're just going, yeah, the guy down the pub said the green button works better than a red button. So, green is for go. Who the fuck says that shit's actually true? Test it. That that's what I hate in the digital marketing industry is the lack of testing.
In an epiphany that I had that I don't know, you wake up one day and something hits you, was that I made a realization, I don't know, it was probably 3 years ago. And this was an epiphany that changed my life from a revenue standpoint.
Mhm,
Because once I started implementing it with clients, I went in and I said, the websites are too busy. Right?
mhm,
They're literally too busy, and so we did a split test with an entire company's website. This is a multi-million-dollar company. They were using all of these wild colors because they want to draw attention and all of this other stuff. I said, let's make a black and white website that only has one other color in it other than black and white, and that color is used for everything you want somebody to make a commitment or decision on. And let's
mhm,
see how it performs. Now, the imagery was in color, but everything else on the website was black and white. So their call to action was, I think it was orange button, and button colors really don't matter. It's just it's a focal point, right? So we would draw in with like a little line, divider line here, in a specific color. Everything else was black and white. And then we would use the causation or the call to action in whatever that color was. So it would correspond to whatever the content was that we were presenting. And so we push this out just for a specific, not an entire website, but within landing pages and stuff of that nature. And all of a sudden their conversions started just popping. And I went back to the CEO and I said, can we do this for all of your pages now? And he said, whatever you want. And it was in a huge market. I mean, they were a little over $100 million a year company.
yeah,
Trying to talk them into making such a subtle change, that wasn't an easy discussion to have.
No, I can imagine. But again, got to prove it. You've got to test shit out and get the
And
best.
if we hadn't tested it out, we would have never known.
Yeah.
So I think that's important from the relationship side of agency work. Is if you're working with an agency, or if you're working with a client and they're not willing to test different stuff out to see what may work better, they might not be the right client, because you're never going to be able to implement processes that'll make enough of a difference to justify the cost of your services.
Yeah. There are, I think there's a lot to be said for being able to say no to certain types of clients. And yeah, as you say, there's just people that are not receptive to any change whatsoever. And yeah, none of us like change, to be honest. But sometimes it's just got to be done.
So I think you're going to like this next one. It's engage within 3 seconds. Engage with them within 3 seconds and stay on point with their solution.
Mm-hmm.
And that's affiliate marketing, right? I mean, that's why affiliate marketers either make it or break it, is because they're staying on point with the solution that they promised from the ad that got them there, or whatever the traffic source was that got them to the page. And that was staying on track, keeping them engaged, and then giving them a reason to buy.
Yeah. And I think that's the perfect way to do it. So yeah.
3 seconds?
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to the title.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and we'll talk about that here too. So the next one is compare your solution to your competitor. Would you choose you? So, and that's tough, because if you create, you put your heart and soul into whatever your copy is and your content and your landing page, and you're getting ready to engage and spend money to promote this. And then you go out and look at your competitors and say, is my stuff better?
Yeah.
Is it a better mousetrap than what the competitors are providing? Now, on the affiliate marketing side, I think that has a lot to do with titles and ads and everything else. But on the agency side, from a client perspective, you may need to change an entire website and the messaging. How do you feel about that? How does that work into the affiliate side, or even the agency side that you've had?
I think, it's not so important, from an affiliate side now. It is and it's not now. That sounds a bit stupid to say that, but you've seen some real bad looking affiliate websites that still make a lot of money. Of course, if they were better and they were easier to navigate, then of course you would probably do better. But I think it's really important, even guys like, for me, I want to have a good website. Is it the best in the world just now? No, there's always room for improvement. There's always new functions, new features, new tricks. For example, I looked at Neil Patel's website one day, and I've been, in the past year, I've been doing a lot of CTR and engagement. But anyway, I ended up on this Neil Patel website, and what I seen was that you had to wait 5 minutes before you could view this free video with whatever it was that he sucked me in with. Watch this. So you're sitting there, you scroll away, you come back, it goes back to 5 minutes. You're just like, fuck, right, I'll wait the 5 minutes. So you sit there, wait the 5 minutes, and then obviously this thing the video starts, and you get your information. He's delivered what he said on the tin, whatever the tip was or the guide was or whatever it was. And you're always looking for these little things that your competition are doing that you might have not always thought about. So when I go to my guy and say, right, here's a website that I want, have this logo on it, have that on it, make it this color, blah, 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 blah. There's always these little quirks that people do. And you can call it CRO, you can call it CTR, call it whatever the hell you want. But there's always someone doing something better. There's always someone sharper than you, more advanced than you. And for me, regardless of whether you're an affiliate marketer or agency or whatever, always look at the competition, look at the big players, because you draw inspiration from them. And as I say, we people are doing it to you. If you've got the best looking website in the market, you better believe that someone's going to be stealing, certain elements of it. So it's what we do. And I think it's really important to do that.
And I'm gonna slam somebody in one of these, right? So not quite yet, but I'm gonna play into that on one of these bullets or one of these hacks. But so all right, so we did that one. So keep your content simple was number 19.
Mm-hmm.
We only have 11 more to go. And the reason why I bring that up is I'm going to give somebody props. What's his name? Aaron somebody, spin rewriter,
I
right?
know
So
what you're talking about, yeah.
yeah, so when you go into his website, and I can't think of his last name, and he does a great job. But as you're going through and you know that you need this product because somebody referred you to it, and you go to the website, you you're going through over and over and over again. It's like, just tell me how much it costs, and you're making it more complicated than it already is or than it needs to be, because I've already made a decision to buy your product. But now I have to watch your video. I have to listen to your story about, Ethel, the 96-year-old lady that you sold your content rewriting software to at the nursing home. And then you're going to talk about the value of it being $1 million. But if I buy right now, I get it for $77 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right. And then you click on it, you say, okay, I want to buy this. Right. And he's a great example, because I want to buy this product. You've convinced me that I need to buy the product. You've over convinced me that I need to buy the product. And then I make the commitment to buy it. And then it sends me to a checkout page. And I already filled out my information to buy the product. And then you're going to offer this add-on product afterwards.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron creates a great product. Many people use Spin Rewriter in our industry. It integrates into a whole bunch of different software platforms. But man, just sell it all to me at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's,
So I actually realized, when I bought Spin Rewriter, however many, I don't know, it was probably 2-3 years ago, I bought the program, and it took me 45 minutes within his website to actually buy the product. And I bought all of it.
yeah. And you'd have probably bought all of it right away.
Absolutely. So somebody who does a really good job with that is GSA, or even Scrapebox. When
Yeah.
you do Scrapebox, they say, here's the product, here's what it does, here's all of the other packages that go with it, and here's all the features, advantages, and benefits of what all of these things do. And we've bundled them for specific tasks. So pick a package, or just pick the product without any packages.
Yeah.
And of course, people who are already sold on it, well, I just bought all the packages, right? Just give me the super duper mega bundle, right?
But sometimes you do feel violated, when you do go and buy something that you think is $77, and then before you know it, you've been taken for $300 or $400. You're
Sure.
just like, fuck.
And that's part of Aaron's deal too, right? So I came in and I don't even know what it costs. I'm just saying $77. And I'm gonna slam somebody on that here I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna slam somebody on that in one of the bullet points. And I'm taking the opportunity in this video to slam this guy, because you've heard me, I'm sure you've seen me rant on social media about the guy I couldn't get rid of once I bought his product, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how he was doing it. And I want to give him as an example of what not to do. And some of my connections are connected to this guy, and I don't feel bad for slamming him at all. But let's see. So we said, keep our content simple, match the user experience to your conversion funnel. So that kind of goes hand in hand, right? Give them what they asked for and what brought them to the site, and make sure that it matches how you're trying to convert them into a sale.
Yeah.
And I don't think people do that very well.
Nah, I'm not sure why. Because again, it's probably the most common sense thing to do, right? I don't know
I would
why.
think if you go into the hardware store to buy an electric cord and somebody walks up and says, you really need a drill, right? You're like, no, dude, I came in for an extension cord.
Exactly. People, as you say, that's a great example. Sometimes people just want the smallest thing, They don't need all the bullshit that goes round about it. They just want to go in and buy tea bags or whatever it might be. They don't need the kettle and the boiling water and all the other fucking mint tea funny stuff that's going on. They just want the fucking standard tea bag and get to fuck back out of the shop without everything else.
Yeah, it seems so simple, but for some reason, what I see as an issue, especially from an e-commerce side, is they're trying to boost up their average customer sale or their average order value or whatever you want to call it, depending on which term is cool which week, right? But they're trying to say, hey, you came in to buy, like you said, tea bags, and customers who bought tea bags also bought this. Don't put the hurdle in front of them. Give them a suggested sale that makes sense. And what we tend to see is you came in to buy tea bags and they're going to offer you a soccer ball at the same time on the way out. It's like, just because I drink tea and I live in Scotland does not necessarily mean I need a soccer ball right now.
Yeah.
Right.
It's madness, but it's the same as if you ever walk in like, a furniture store or whatever, and the salesman pounces on you, or when you're going to buy a car and you've literally fucking stepped in the parking lot and the guy's on you. Yeah, can I help you? Can I help you? And you're like, I just want to look, like, just want to see what the hell's available. Leave me alone. I just think that's what e-commerce or a lot of people do, is they're jumping on you right away. Bang, 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 buy this, buy that. And I find that a turn off, really, really, in person or online. Trying to ram stuff down my throat is not always the best option. If I want it, I'll find it and, navigate around. I'm not an idiot. And I know certain people are idiots and stuff, but as you say, suggest something. Don't fucking rub my back up the wrong way by causing me a problem. Just leave me alone.
I was in Petco buying dog food, and I get to the register. This was literally last night, and I put this huge bag of dog food on the counter, and the woman, the young gal, she said something about, do you need some chapstick? Right? And I'm like, I don't understand. Well, it's getting cold and we're running a promotion right now to, I'm supposed to ask you if you need chapstick. And I looked around and I said, I'm in a pet store, right? All they do is pets. I said, why are you guys selling chapstick? Why are you pushing chapstick? I said, you guys should be pushing. And I was nice to her. She's some young college kid, right? But I'm thinking you should be offering dog biscuits or something relative, some sort of a chew toy or whatever, not chapstick. Makes zero sense. But we do that digitally without even realizing that we're doing it digitally. All the time, whether it's a client site, whether it's our own site. And I see that especially within the agencies, that the agencies will say, okay, I'm an SEO agency, but I'm going to bring somebody in who needs website design, and then I'm going to try and force SEO down their throat. Right? Yeah. How about you start off with the reason why they're there?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna lose them as soon as you start talking about, and you'll see this in sales calls too, where they came in on website design or they came in on marketing automation.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're an SEO company and that's what we really focus on, and we can do that marketing stuff because that's easy. Well, you just destroyed the value of the service or the presentation, and then you're trying to do this, bait and switch over to SEO where you want to be.
I had a similar situation the other day where I purchased a link from a guy. Don't shoot me down, everyone who doesn't believe in buying links, but I bought a link from a guy. And so I gave him the content and everything else he needed for that link. Before he'd even placed the link, he's like, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this. And I'm like, dude, stop trying to sell. Go to deliver what I've paid for before you start ramming anything else down my throat, because I don't even know if you're a real guy. I don't know if you can deliver. So deliver first, and then we can talk about other stuff. So I don't know who's training this garbage. And again, I'm not sure what it's like in America, but even when I go and put gas in the car, I go into the gas station and you're paying for your gas, and the women will have like all these kind of chocolates and stuff right at the till. Now, obviously, someone in the gas station's market departments are saying put all the good stuff around the till and try and get upsells, right? So I'm in paying for the gas, $50 or whatever it might be, and then they're saying like we've got 3 Cadbury's cream eggs for £1. Do you want them? And you're like, I'm in getting gas. Like, why would that? Why would any human being want 3 Cadbury's cream eggs? And that's all these people do. And I don't know who's teaching it. It's real bad. It's really bad.
It's not as if you went to the gas station for Cadbury eggs and then just decided to get some gas while you were there.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're totally unrelated.
Exactly.
But
and
we're doing
that bastard anyway. So asking the fat guy whether he wants 3 eggs rather than 1 is just not good. That's not a good sale. I'm just like, as much as I love Cadbury's cream eggs and I would eat all 3 of them, please do me the favour and don't ram that one down my throat, please. So yeah, it sucks.
We have that here all the time, and I don't know. I've had some crazy experiences with, generally younger people trying to do this cross-sell upsell thing that they're required to do from their managers, and it's just horrendous. So I don't know. It's almost as if it devalues them. But going back to the digital side, if you're doing that, it actually devalues your brand.
Yeah.
Because if they're just give them what they want, right? It goes back to give them what they want. Don't make it and don't overcomplicate it. So the next one is a big one, and I'm trying not to keep you too long, Craig. So the next one is focus on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Over half of the traffic on the internet, over half is on mobile. Most of the people are making purchasing decisions on mobile, and you'll see a beautiful site, and then you'll turn around and look at it on the mobile version, and it's garbage. Yep. And generally, we see that with clients, or they'll optimize for mobile and they'll optimize for desktop. But as an example, I do a lot of my research on my iPad or my tablet. Mm-hmm. And so they're not optimized for tablet, and it just looks like garbage.
Yeah. I think in this day and age, I think people should build their website out mobile first and then outwards, rather than desktop, making it responsive and all that stuff. As you say, statistically, and we've had these statistics for years, at first it was like, 60-40 in favor of desktop, and then it slowly creeped, and you're saying 50. I would probably argue that is far higher. Across a lot of niches, 70-80% of people are all using mobiles, and I think it will go up to that level if it's not already there. Now, I can't obviously account for the statistics of every website in the world, but I think, when you're saying 50, you're being conservative with that. It's certainly a massive thing. And
it's interesting that all of the bot traffic, so they say that bot traffic represents 54% of all of the traffic on the internet. Mm-hmm. And all of that is considered desktop traffic because it's coming from a desk, or it's not coming from a mobile device. So if you take the 54%, then they say that roughly 56 or 58%, depending on everything, of the traffic is mobile. So if you divide that, right, I would say you're right, that 70 to 80% of it is actually mobile of real traffic.
Yeah.
Because you're subtracting out the bot traffic that's happening anyways.
So, no, I think it's massively important, and something that you just see people with, nice websites and good businesses, and you just look at it in the mobile and you're just like, God, what the hell are you doing? Who is in charge here? And who's looking at this garbage? So, yeah, I think it's massive.
We went through that the other day, where a website for a lawyer here, and I happen to know them. They're not a client of mine, but they actually have a beautiful website on desktop. Mm-hmm. And then their mobile presence gives you literally call now. I mean, when you go there, and they're a personal injury attorney, right? And they're pulling out all the stops. I mean, they're doing beacon-based advertising. They're doing, you name it. But I thought, how cool is that? Because when you get ready to call them, you're in pain and you
Yeah.
want to sue somebody. And their website comes up, and right in the center of the screen is call us. And you just push a button and you're there.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's bad. As I say, again, I mean, how many businesses do you even know that their websites are just not mobile friendly at all? Do you know what I mean? You look at them and they're skewed all over the place, and you're just like, fuck. This
It,
is your shop window.
it's generally because they cut corners on web design.
Yeah, they always want the cheaper option, and yeah, it's
You got it.
listen, you do that, you'll end up paying twice, and I think listen, we all like cheap deals. We all love a bargain, but I think in this industry, businesses, for example, would pay extra money to be at the center of the high street in any place. They pay tens of thousands of pounds more to be prominent, yet they don't even care about their website being, visible in any kind of way, shape, or form. Never mind stand out from the crowd. They don't even have it function properly. So, yeah, I think businesses do need to take a long, hard look at themselves when they look at this stuff and say, this really is your online, this is your front window. This is the high street you're looking at online now. So if it's going to look like a piece of garbage, all of that other stuff that you're doing is for nothing.
So fun story. I actually had a client that their desktop site had a picture of a woman on the left, and then they had something with arrows on the right. And I actually took Agency Hacker's website and I redesigned it to mimic this client site, right? But when you went to the mobile version, because the arrows were pointing to the social media follow buttons on their site, but when it transitioned into mobile, the arrow went down and it was pointing up her dress. Right? And I brought it up to the client and I said, hey, you got to fix that. And oh, wow. I didn't realize that it did that. I said, how long ago did you build your site? Wow, it's been like 5 years. I said, so 5 years. Everybody who looks at their mobile device is looking at an arrow of, here's all of their social media icons. Here's a pretty girl in her dress, and here's a big arrow pointing up her dress.
Oh man, that is going to get you in a lot of trouble.
I get a kick out of it. And you talk to these owners, and yeah, I don't know. The next one is retargeting, and I think that is the biggest thing that people miss. Is I tell people that within 16 minutes of being on your site, if somebody hasn't made a commitment to purchase your product, they're already gone.
Yeah.
Within 16 minutes, they're on your competitor's site, giving them an opportunity to engage and close that person on a better mousetrap or a better version of your solution.
Yeah.
How much retargeting do you do?
A fair bit, to be honest.
So let me use an example. Your show, you're retargeting for your show all the time.
Yep.
How important is that to building your subscribers and building your viewers and building your audience?
It's massive. I think retargeting people who've been in my website in terms of showing them my videos and showing them up-to-date stuff is massively important. Obviously, doing it commercially, for example, if I'm selling bathrooms, and you've looked at my website, of course I want to retarget you. It's the same way that I'm doing it with videos and everything else. Get those people back in your website. And, obviously I'm doing retargeting to build subscribers, so it's slightly different, but it's the same thing, and what you also need to remember for the people that's listening, by the way, is that there's certain things like high ticket items like a bathroom that someone's not going to come on and just buy a bathroom off the cuff. I mean, I'm sure there are guys that do, but generally they're going to have to go away, think about it. They may have forgotten about your website because your brand wasn't on point, or you're just not that well known in reality. So retargeting is really, really important to to take advantage of, we said before, 90 or 95% of people just bugger off and do nothing on your website. And it's important. We want to utilize technology and use the retargeting options we've got to get you back onto the website. And, you know, for me, it's about getting YouTube subscribers and email subscribers and stuff like that. People land on my website all the time. They stumble across some shitty little blog or tutorial and they may forget about me again very quickly. You know, I've seen something about that guy. But if I'm continuing to retarget them, I'm building my brand, I'm showing them information that hopefully is relevant, and you're utilizing the technology that's out there. And I think the biggest thing for me, Bradley, is I don't think people know what a Facebook pixel is or what it does or the power of, you know, technology. Like, we can literally drop, you know, what we're selling right onto the right people's laps. You know, this is not, you know, Google AdWords of, you know, 2010 where you're, you know, it's just a kind of spray gun approach and, you know, you rattle out and you get 100,000 impressions, and the reality is probably 1,000 of them might actually be remotely interested in what you've got. This is super highly targeted people who've been on your website before. And why would you not pay like two cents or whatever it costs?
Sure. So what I see with you brought up something great. So when you talk about pixels, what I see is I see two completely different sides of, I mean, people are literally like a junior high school dance, boys versus girls. You have the group that is all in on pixels. And that's good. And then you have the people that are like, yeah, it's too hard, right? I mean, how many times have you heard that putting a pixel in place is too hard?
Yeah.
Or I don't really understand pixels, and it's like, well, have you really? I mean, you just put it there, right? And then you use the data, to get them back. Yeah, but I don't get it, right? Or you'll have, the worst thing is when you have somebody so sold on pixels that they're ignoring the rest of the opportunities. Pixel, 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 pixel. Well, but you have 80 calls to action on a page that has less than 300 words on it. Yeah, but I have the pixels, right? So they're so focused on getting them back, and you know what? I'm gonna pick on this guy now, right? And it's still early in the game. Do you know who Josh Zamora is?
Nope.
All right, Josh Zamora is the king of conversion. Guaranteed that he has sold me so much shit. The problem is that he sells shit, right? Yeah. It's all garbage. And what he would do is he would actually sell the same product over and over again for the exact same price. So the product was one price, the add-on was another price, the add-on to the add-on they were all the same price. So then when you realized that what you originally bought from them didn't actually work and you'd cancel that product, you'd still get charged monthly over and over and over again for the same price for the other two that you didn't, all in separate transactions. And it just pissed me off. I couldn't get rid of the guy. So I actually bought a product from him in 2017 that was supposed to cost, I think, $66 or $77 per month for as long as I wanted to use it, and I could cancel at any time. The problem was I also agreed to another $66 for this add-on and another $66 for the other one. So I canceled the original product, and I'm still getting charged $132 a month. And I kept going back and forth with PayPal, and I'm like, I need to get rid of this guy. So the problem with that is, you know, he was great at retargeting. He was great at upselling. He was great at doing all of this other stuff. And if he actually sold a decent product, he'd be brilliant in our industry. But he sells junk. And he would sell, I think he did video professor or video marketing something or other, where you could go in and find expired YouTube domains and then do the interlinking within the videos.
Right, yeah.
And buy it, yeah. So, but you could never find any. So his whole program was just broken, right? I don't know, great at retargeting. So the next one, we're getting close to the end. Targeted and precise ad copy. So that gets into the pixel, right? So using pixels to understand exactly what people are looking for, exactly why they're there, and that actually goes into, did I put in bring the right, build value? I didn't put this in. This is a bonus one because this goes hand in hand. If you're not using heat maps, whether it's what, Hotjar, Crazy Egg, whatever that is, it's not, you can bring in all the traffic you want, but if you don't realize where they're stopping or where they're getting hung up, you're never going to increase your conversion rates. And I think
Yeah.
Hotjar is free, isn't it? Or
It's got a free version of it, but you essentially do have to pay if you want to use it, properly. The only thing I would say about Hotjar, and a lot of people complain, I've actually just started using Crazy Egg. Hotjar slows your website down a great deal as well.
sure,
So if you're going to use, and as I say, I'm a massive fan of using data behind the decisions you make to do CRO. But you don't always have to run Hotjar or Crazy Egg or whatever else all the time in your website. You can, put it on for a period of time so that you get a bunch of data. You do not need that stuff to be running 24/7 in your website, because if that stuff is running 24/7 in your website, it does impact speeds, and it can do so by a fair amount if you do your testing. So just bear that in mind. I just wanted to highlight that there. But as I say, they're great tools. And as you say, finding out, not guessing, or not again listening to the guy down the pub or on the webinar, suggesting that, tweaking this and tweaking that might help you. Actually finding out, using heat maps and finding out where these customers are being troubled is going to open up so many other doors for you. So yeah, I'm a massive fan of those kind of tools.
what I found when and I agree, Crazy Egg, I always give the free alternative, right? So I don't think Crazy Egg does anything for free, which is
No.
good, right? Hotjar, if you want to test out heat maps and you want to get everything going, use their free version, figure out where people are going. But what we noticed is the drop off from top of fold, next section down, and it just, the decrease in the heat map of people that are even scrolling halfway through a page.
Mm-hmm.
And they almost have a video game mentality. When you turn on a video game, and I haven't played video games in a long time, I'm assuming this is still true. When you turn on a video game, it pretty much says, going back to my days of Joust and Pac-Man and all of the cool stuff, right? It would give you two options, and it would say multiplayer, single player, or arcade version versus something else. It would give you two options. And I've always said that video games are absolutely the best at conversion funnel, or every kind of funneling or user experience, because they're doing everything within 1920 by 1080. They're guiding you through a process, screen by screen by screen. It wouldn't work for a website.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get away with that, right? But it's beautiful as far as creating funnels to get you from point A to point B. If you choose arcade version, what's the other one, right? It was always, I mean, I know I'm aging myself, but it was arcade version versus something else. And you would click whatever that version is, and then it would say single player, multiplayer.
Yeah.
And then press start. Right? Satisfied every time.
Exactly.
All right, we're almost there, man. Thank you for bearing with me on this. It's like pulling teeth. I know you did a show before this. So focus on your benefits. People keep reading because of the features, and they buy because of the solution and the benefits. And I can't state that enough. That goes back to the bullet points. They want to make sure that it matches all of the functionality that they're looking for, and then they're looking at the solutions and the benefits for them.
Yeah.
Not the benefits of the product.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times do we go to, and that's one of the things that I think Amazon does terrible at, but they make up with the reviews. They're using reviews to make up that loss from the standpoint of benefits.
Yeah.
And that goes hand in hand with 3 clicks or less. 94% of visitors will leave a site if they can't complete their intent of the visit within 3 clicks. 94% drop off.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about that before, right? That Caribou where it was like 11 clicks to sign up for the rewards program.
Yeah, that's again. Why? Why would you ever have that?
Give them what they want.
Yeah, it's. I think. I think for me, our industry has overcomplicated everything so much, and it's now came the full circle where things used to be really simple. Then people come in and they had all these fancy, wishy-washy things, and people are just like, "Fuck this!" Just like, let me do this and let me go to my bed. Nothing should be taking people any serious amount of time if that is what if you're trying to extract data from them. They don't want all that crap that goes alongside it. Tons of questions or tons of this or tons of that. Just give them simply what they want. And I think, again, I referred to Neil Patel's website earlier. Even in design, if you look at Neil Patel's website, it is really, really basic. Very clean, very tidy, very minimalistic. And I think we are coming back round to probably, I'm not going to say we're back at the start of SEO because it's nothing like that, but we've went through all of this kind of crazy stuff and AMP and all of these kind of mad things that we're all supposed to be the next big thing. And people just want a website that's responsive, simple, and to the point. And
it's funny you bring that up because I always pay attention. I don't pay attention to Neil Patel. I think if we say his name again, we got to start a swear jar for this episode, just so you know. But yeah, I've had some personal experiences with Neil that, oh my God. Anyways, if you look at what, say, Brian Dean, do you follow Brian Dean at all?
Yeah.
So if you look at the way Brian Dean and HubSpot, they kind of go hand in hand, and I really research. I stalk their websites.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at that full turn and everything's going back to that hub model,
yeah.
So that we used way back in 2010. So
Yeah.
it's 10-year-old technology. Panda Penguin happened. All of these people were doing really bad things with I don't know, keyword stuffing, same color fonts, all of this other stuff. And then everybody got away from the hub pages.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like a shotgun blast. Well, we're coming back to that. And it wasn't that, and I think it's funny because it wasn't that was ever a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just everybody pushed over into the blog posts. And
and
nobody really looked at, is this content evergreen content? Can we put that into a hub page and make it forever, or do we want to put it in a timed release or a timed lifespan within a blog post?
Yeah.
Then you have to update the dates and republish and use all kinds of crazy code. I mean, I could show you some of this stuff, right? Updated, auto updates and all kinds of stuff. But I think it's really just about simplicity. And I think you're right, because in the end, we don't have time to go look at Walmart, right? You guys have Walmart over there or no?
Well, we've got similar, yeah.
Okay. If you look at Walmart's website, they redesigned their entire website over probably the last 5 or 6 months just to simplify everything.
Yeah.
And make the user experience better. And if you look at the way the rankings transitioned from their old website to the new one, I think it went up by like 40% from a traffic model.
Yeah.
Because they bought, I don't know, it was the company Jet, I think it was. They bought a couple of different companies.
Mm-hmm.
And then their site got muddied with all of just this garbage content coming in from affiliates and you name it. All right. Let's see. We already went through that one. Make their time count. Convince them to commit the time necessary to engage. This is actually one of my nuggets. So asking for the time commitment or stating what the time commitment is for the content that's on the page. And what we see is, this is a 6-minute read. This is a 5-minute engagement or 5-minute read or whatever. We would actually see the bounce rate happen if they weren't willing to commit to 5 minutes. And the average time that you could expect an engagement when we looked at everything, including videos and all of that, was 7 minutes and 4 seconds.
Jeez.
So when somebody hit the page and they were engaged and they were willing to make a decision to commit to purchasing a product, 7 minutes and 4 seconds. As soon as it went past 7 minutes and 4 seconds, people were gone.
Yeah.
And that's huge, right? If I can throw out a nugget, make all of your content digestible within 7 minutes and 4 seconds. And the same holds true for video. I bet if you looked at your average playtime on your videos, it's going to hover right around that time mark.
Yeah. I mean, people will tell you, different types, but people, it's probably anything between 4 and 7 minutes. I'm also the same. If I want a video, like if I'm doing some DIY in the house or whatever it might be, not that I do a lot of DIY, but if I'm Googling something, how to do something, if that guy's got a 12-minute video and he's telling you how cool he is and all that shit, I'm not fucking interested. Give me something short, sharp that shows me what the hell I'm doing here, and I'm off and I fix whatever it is I'm fixing. And again, you have to look at these things and how you would want it to be delivered. Do we need to go onto the Bradley Bennett YouTube channel and hear you repeat, your background on every video? Absolutely not. Just give, whatever that header is, just bang, here's your answers. Obviously I think for video that converts a lot better.
So breaking it up, and if you notice, even Joe Rogan, he has these 2-hour shows and he started breaking them up into 8-minute sections.
Yeah.
Notice that? So that's important. I might start doing that with my big interviews too.
Yeah. You just lights them up. It gives you more material, by the way. I think, in terms of doing that, releasing it, you could release this particular show and, God knows how many sections, 10 sections. And
Sure.
you've got a whole bunch of stuff to keep people interested in.
Create a playlist out of my 30 hacks, right?
Yeah.
Do them one at a time. Let's see. What else do we have? Make their time count. Yep. Bring the right visitor to your site. This is huge, right? Especially from the agency side. Because I don't know how many times I would look at what a previous agency had done, and all of a sudden they would say, well, we have 10,000 visitors a month on their site for selling medical insurance here in the United States. And all of their visitors were from India, Bangladesh, Russia, and whoever that SEO agency was that they fired because nothing was converting. It was all coming from the wrong place.
Yeah. It's, again, such a common sense thing. Like, at the end of the day, it depends who you are. It doesn't matter who you are. The bottom line on digital marketing where you're going to be assessed is the ROI that a guy gets. If someone's paying you $5,000 and they're not making 50 grand back off of that, then they're going to ask questions. There needs to be that ROI. Who gives a toss whether it's 10,000 clicks or 20,000 and all these kind of other meaningless statistics? I want to know. I don't care if it's 100 sales I get, and for whatever reason I only get 100 bits of traffic. I want 100 sales, and I want to spend $5,000 with you, and I'll get X amount back. And as long as that ROI is there, I'll continue to pay. But I think the agency model, and I'm not saying every agency does this, but they build out a lot of fluff, and they do go after keywords that get high search and no conversions, or Indian traffic or whatever, and again, it's very easy to do and trick clients into thinking that that's a good thing. Oh, look, your traffic's up, by 300%, but that phone call's not ringing anymore, or that phone's not ringing, or no one's buying from you. And if that phone's not ringing, it's worthless traffic. Who cares?
So I think you gave everybody a nugget, because what we would see if we were walking in the door and the last agency was fired, generally and this gives SEO a bad name. So what would happen is the agency would walk in the door. The client is only really worried about in the end is how many times does the phone ring? And
Yeah.
is that phone call relevant, or form submission or whatever relevant to our business that we can convert and turn that into money, which then pays the agency, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you're getting paid for your services. So most of the people who are going to watch this video are in a position where they have clients and they've been working on SEO. They're probably good at getting traffic, but maybe not the right traffic to the website. And they're selling all of their services based on just SEO, just search engine optimization with some email marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So one of the nuggets that I want to share is, if I found myself sitting in front of a client that expected all of the results to happen just from SEO, I wouldn't take them on as a client. And the reason being is because I needed to use Google Ads. And, we, premier partner with Google, all of this other stuff. I mean, we did, tens of thousands of dollars, not quite $100,000 a month in ad revenue, in just ad spend. And I wouldn't take on a client if they weren't willing to take on the ad spend that was necessary to get them the targeted traffic. And we
Yeah.
could build SEO in the background. We could build the content. We could get all of the eyeballs on site and work those two programs together almost in like an x-axis.
Yeah.
Right? But if I walked in the door and they fired, generally they would fire the client. And most of the people who are watching this are going in trying to sell SEO efforts. And they're trying to sell it on their own or on its own 2 feet. They really don't want the website design, or maybe they do. They really don't want the marketing efforts because they really don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And they have this idea that SEO is going to be the magical solution, and they sell it to the client as being this magic wand of making everybody appear on the website, but they're not engaging with the people once they get there. They're getting the wrong people to the site, and now sales aren't happening, and now they're fired.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's where CRO comes in, because that's why everybody's asking for this. Everybody's asking for the CRO side, because in the end, if you walk in as an agency owner, okay, and this is a nugget. If you walk in and you get the appointment with that prospective client, you walk in and you say, let's talk about converting your traffic into sales. Done. Every other agency is dancing around what they don't want to talk about, which is accountability to the sale.
Yeah.
And I can't say that loud enough, right? I mean, everybody's walking in saying, well, we do SEO, we do some website design, and we do marketing automation, social media management. And the business owner, you're a business owner, all you care about is show me the money, right?
Yeah.
In the end, I need you to provide a service that's showing me the money, that is not only paying for your services, but offers me the ability to pay the other employees who work for me.
You've got to earn your keep, or you're not. It's not going to work. That is the bottom line. Is as an agency or a freelancer or whatever you are, if you're not earning enough to validate your service and keep that business afloat, you're going to be fired. There's only going to be so long you get with a potential client. But if I look at myself, or look at anyone else with any degree of success, would I strictly say I'm an SEO guy just now? Probably not. Like, I've been an SEO, and that is my strong focus. But if I look at my own businesses, or even my own personal brand, I'm the video guy. I'm doing I've got all sorts of stuff going on. I would do I look at tools like Go High Level, where we can do, now I don't do this for myself, but like text message marketing. I'm looking for new innovative ways to get people from any fucking source. It doesn't matter a shit, as long as we are getting calls, leads, and money in to any business. Now, text message marketing's got nothing at all to do with SEO. It's another marketing channel. It's the same as email, pay, like you say, with paid, or Google Ads, Facebook, CTR, all of that kind of stuff. It's you have to have the right marketing mix. You have to become more of a marketer now, to be able to get any real traction and utilize, as you say, paid and SEO can go very well together. And it can massively help with CTR and engagement and traffic and all that stuff while you're building up your traffic. If someone does just come in and say, "Hey, Brad, I've got $500, and I'm wanting to turn over a couple of million a year," like get over.
The sad part is that happens, and that happens.
Yeah.
How many phone calls do we get, or emails or whatever, saying, "Hey, I don't have any money, but I want you to cause me to have millions."
Yeah. Oh, it happens. 9 out of 10 people that approach me, I literally say "fuck off."
Well, in my rule was 5 million, right? If the business is not making $5 million a year, I don't want to deal with them from the standpoint of I might design a website for them, but I'm really not going to offer the other services because they're not in a position at $5 million a year in annual revenue that they understand all of the things that they need in order to take them to the next level if they're under 5 million. So it's a $1 million a year company. They're not hiring a marketing person. They're using their 14-year-old kid, and maybe they taught their dog how to manage their social media. Right? And there's never going to be any value. But if you can master the CRO, if you can master that aspect of bringing targeted traffic into the website and showing conversions, and you walk in and that's your offer, right? Because I get questions all the time. Should I really just focus on website design? Well, if you want to design websites, go ahead. There's no money in it. I'll be the first one to tell anybody, if you think you're going to make an agency off of web design, you're a fool. Right? You are a fool. That was one of the first things that we cut out when we started looking at all the numbers, because my accountant came to me and said, wow, you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per month on payroll, hundreds of thousands. Now let's look at all the time that's going into website design and compare that to content or marketing automation or social media management and all of these people, and the margins were terrible.
Yeah.
The margin on web design was negative 2%. I was losing to 2%.
Yeah, I would say out of my agency time, I've never made any profit in web design. Now, I thought I was when I was pricing it, but you get drained, you get more changes, that you always end up in a negative. And I don't know anyone that's good unless you willy-nilly go out there and charge obscene figures, then you might you've obviously got to go in there with realistic figures when you're building your brand and get work in and all that and get cash flow. But unless you're charging obscene money, stay clear of it.
Sure. Same with marketing automation. Same with social media management. You're not going to walk in, local listings, right? That was the best one, like Yext or whatever. I mean, people would talk about, I'm just going to sell Yext's local listings. Okay. Well, you don't really have an agency. I had that argument with a guy here in town that we came across, and we were bidding for the same project. And I said, what are you offering? I don't even remember the guy's name. And he said, well, I mostly do local listings. I said, then you don't have an agency. You're just reselling somebody else's product.
Yeah.
And you with Yext, you don't even have to manage it. But all right, we have two more.
Cool.
Two more. And I promise I'll let you go because it's getting late there. What time is it?
It is 8:30.
Oh, that's not too bad. I want to give you some time so you can spend some time with that little guy, right?
Yeah.
All right. So second to last one is build value with branding and build exclusivity. Okay, so the failure that I see within a whole bunch of sites, whether it doesn't matter what it is, product or service based, is they're not building their brand and using their brand to push the sale.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is they're putting content on the website and it looks just like everybody else's content, but it's unbranded. And if you're not branding your content, that just gives somebody the opportunity to shop the competition.
Yeah.
All right. So the story I'm going to share with you is when I got out of the military, I ended up selling cars because I couldn't find anybody who needed nuclear rockets calibrated, right? And so I sold cars, and I wasn't very good at it. And when I say not very good at it, I'm not a good salesperson. Maybe I am, but maybe I'm not. Probably not. but I was always like number 2 or number 3 every month out of all the car salesperson in this huge auto mall.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to work like 1.5 times harder just to get there. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
So I found myself selling Nissans in 2000. And Nissan was in the middle of filing bankruptcy and restructuring. So somebody would come into this auto lot thing, and it was literally the place where I worked. They called it a shark tank. This is before the show, right? But a shark tank because it was dealership next to dealership next to dealership for probably 10 city blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So if they left your lot, they were going to a different lot. And so now I'm selling Nissans, and I'm selling Nissans against Toyota and Honda, which are wonderful vehicles. You know, they're great vehicles. They last a long time. And I'm selling Nissans, which at the time looked like an egg because they were ugly as shit back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in 3 colors, taupe, tan, and beige. Right. I mean, it was underpowered. It was everything. But I had a mission that I needed to sell Nissans. That was my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I would walk around. I would do a walk around on these on the car, and it was all about sales process. And I would see the salespeople shortcutting the system, and they would toss the keys to the person. Hey, take it on a test drive. They wouldn't explain any of the features of the vehicle, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, wow, they're doing really good based on quantity, but I need to do it based on quality
Mm-hmm.
because I need to be able to build up the value when we get to the negotiation phase of selling the vehicle. So as I was walking around, and plus I knew that if I didn't sell the car, and most of the people wouldn't buy the car, they would look at the car and they would leave. So I would have to get them back, and I would have to give them a nugget that would cause them to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was doing the walk around, here's the features, and I would get to the front tire of the driver's side of the vehicle, and I would explain that every Nissan comes equipped standard with safety rims. And safety rims are designed that if the tire blows out at a high rate of speed, that the tire doesn't separate from the rim, causing a rollover accident.
Mm-hmm.
Because after all, safety is really important. And I would be talking to the wife, right?
Yeah.
It would be husband, wife, and children. And I'd say, after all, safety is important, right? And then she'd look at her husband and she'd say, it is important, right? This car's for me. And you don't want me and the kids to roll over in the vehicle, right? So they would leave. I would give them all of the information, and my sales manager hated this sales process. But I would say, hey, before you leave, I want to make sure that I give you numbers,
Mm-hmm.
that there is no doubt that you are going to pay this amount for this vehicle. If you come back, theirs might be lower, whatever it is, but you have my numbers, and you can come back and we can finish the process. So they would leave the dealership. They would go down to the Toyota dealership, and I had planted a seed,
Mm-hmm.
right? That they would go down, they would go through the whole sales process with somebody else, and the woman would ask, does this vehicle have safety rims? And the salesperson would say, I don't know. Let me go ask my manager. Yep. I don't trust that. Your manager is going to tell you anything just to sell me a vehicle. And if you don't know for certain that that vehicle has safety rims on it, we're not buying it. Let's go down to the Honda dealership because now the woman's in charge, right? She's dragging her husband. So they go down to the Honda dealership, same thing. And they would come back and they would buy my car.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, every vehicle in the United States since 1955 has been federally mandated to have safety rims on it.
Mm-hmm.
I did not lie to them.
Yeah.
But I gave them an emotional reason. I gained buy-in from an emotional causation for them to say, if either of those vehicles that I'm looking at doesn't have this feature, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
We don't do that digitally. The ones that do win.
Yeah.
And the ones that don't, well, that's 99% of the internet.
It's a good way of looking at it, without, it's not a lie, but it's just re-emphasizing the truth.
it's causing emotional buy-in. It's saying this is what my product has, and this is why it's important. And if the competition isn't offering that same product, they're gonna come out. They're gonna come back. So the last one is use but don't overuse FOMO. Fear of
Yeah,
missing out.
yeah. Um, yeah, yeah. I like FOMO. I don't know why, but when I just see something and yeah, I like it. It's you could probably, yeah. Don't overuse it. Don't piss someone off with it. But yeah, I like a bit of
I
FOMO.
I love using FOMO, right? That buy-in of, hey, there's a sale going, and I use this one as the last one because this is a sticking point, right? And you show up to a website, they ask you to, allow their notifications. Okay. Next, there's an interstitial pop-up that says, or that wheel, right? Spin the wheel for your unique thing. And you're like, Jesus, I haven't even looked at anything. You want to give me a coupon code, right? And then as I'm reading through it, there's a pop-up that pops up and says, enjoy an extra 20% off of your first purchase. I'm only on line 2, right?
Yeah.
I haven't even looked at it. And then, it just pisses you off.
It's just bad. Like the things you're saying, like the spin wheel thing to get a discount or a free gift or whatever it is to get your email and be hit with a coupon code before you've even fucking had a proper look is insanity.
Or the ones that pop up like every second. Susie just bought it. Bob just bought it.
Oh
Brian just bought it. It's like, okay, keeping up with the Joneses, fear of missing out. I got it, but I don't know that I really believe that. And if you stay on their website long enough, they only have 10 of them. And within 2 minutes, you're seeing that Susie just bought it again.
yeah. That's one thing though, Bradley, is these stupid little gimmicks worked very well because let's not kid ourselves. Like 90% of the browsers on the internet are not up to the level of knowledge that maybe you or I are at, and other people in this community. But people are not idiots. People are becoming wise to these kind of bullshit things. And again, I think it's going to come round the full circle where you are going to look foolish if, for example, you've got that loop of Susie buying and Bob buying and Tom, Dick, and Harry buying, and then you start to see it again, and you're like, fuck, is every customer that buys from this place called Tom, Dick, and Harry and Susie and God knows what else,
I,
So,
I, I saw the loop happen on a car dealership website.
mm-hmm.
And I said, wow, Susie just bought 2 Chevy Silverados. And she just gave him $100,000.
Susie must be one rich.
Sure. And then sure enough, it's in that same loop where, well, Brian just bought again too. But it wasn't like a $10 item. We're talking about $50,000 trucks.
Yeah.
So I get the fear. And the other thing that drives me crazy about the FOMO deal is you'll go to, and this pisses me off about like the landing pages that you see in the sponsored stuff on Facebook, is that they're showing like one of those face trimmer things.
Yeah.
And you go to the website and you're like, yeah, that's a pretty cool thing. And then you look and it says, this product's normally $9,500. But if you act now, there's a 97% or 99% discount. And we'll sell it to you for $29. And you're looking at it saying, screw you, buddy. One, you just lost value because I don't believe that it ever cost $9,400.
Yeah.
And you're never going to discount it. If you're going to discount it 99%, and this, I'll pick on Diggity for just a moment. I was, not in a bad way. I love that guy, and I've never actually talked to him, right? But I'm an admirer of his stuff. But I was listening to his webinar the one day, and at the end, I know he's going to try and sell something, and I don't know that I'm the client for it, but I always appreciate listening to his stuff. And at the end, he was building value into this thing, and he's like, and the retail value of this is $49,000, but if I'll sell it to you for $750.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that might be the only mistake that I've ever seen you make.
Yeah.
Because he's spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And he just took all of the realism out of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Now, if he came in and said, hey, I'd normally offer this at $9.99, but having a special today for $750 or $749, I would have said, game on. But I'm only doing this for the first 10 people or 20 people or 50 people or whatever that number is.
Yeah.
And now you have a good FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Yeah.
whole time I'm watching that presentation, he's not having, well, Bob just bought it. Susie just bought it.
Yeah.
Spill here, we'll give you a coupon. Right?
Yeah. It's not good.
I think people are wise to all of it, man. I think they,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ah, they definitely are. I think the days of us pulling the wool over people's eyes and customers' eyes and everything else, you know, I'm not saying they're over, but people are becoming a little more digital literate, shall we say? And yeah, people are not idiots. Just simplify it, and I think you'll get you'll get the rewards that you deserve.
So I think what you're saying is let's get back to the KISS philosophy. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah,
Make it real simple. Keep people on track. Don't try and sell them a whole bunch of garbage.
I think you've also got to test, as you say, test. Make sure that these are data-led decisions. Do not try and over CRO your website because you heard that this is a good thing to do. I think a lot of people, when it comes to CRO, are making changes on websites that you can't really make those decisions on because there's not enough traffic to make those decisions. So again, there's just so many little things that you see people falling into. And I think, when it comes to CRO and some of the changes you're talking about, you're only going to see a real difference on a website and see whether it works in a positive or a negative way. If you've got a minimum of, say, 10 or 20,000 visitors on a website per month, doing that when you've only had 600 visitors or whatever, it's very hard to find out what's working and what's not, because could it be the time of the month, could it be this, could it be that. So yeah, keep it simple, keep it to the point, but also do not try and over do these things either. Is what
So
I would
you
say.
brought up a good point because data is always the past, right? So I made the mistake with a client, I don't know, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago where I implemented all of these changes and they worked and they were great. But some of the stuff that we implemented was pay to play.
Yeah,
They wanted to come, they came in and said, okay, what part of this is causing all of this to happen? And I couldn't point at one thing. They were
yeah,
looking to, I implemented too many changes at the same time, and then I couldn't point back to this was the defining reason as to why, yeah. And that turned out very poorly.
yeah.
But
I think tweaking it as you go will just give you a lot better knowledge going forward as well.
so let me put you on the spot. One
Mhm.
growth hack that we didn't talk about.
Jeez, I really am in the spot, and I've actually been thinking about this for the last 10, 15 minutes, thinking we have covered a whole bunch of some good stuff. Even for me, I've not heard of or thought of a lot of this stuff. Jeez, growth hack, man. Um, does it have to be CRO related?
Well, I'm hoping so because that's what the episode's about,
um,
right? Everybody's looking for a nugget. So, ideally, what I want to do is I want to bring people back on, and I just want to ask them for one thing, right? What's
uh-huh.
one thing that I'm missing as I'm doing all of these episodes that you want to add value for your episode? How about that? Doesn't have to be conversion related.
It doesn't have to be conversion related. So what are you doing? Um, okay, this is a tough one. This is a real tough one. Um,
Last time it was resounding how many people said that working on your agency instead of in your agency. That
Yeah.
was the takeaway from the last one. I should have told you I was going to put you on the spot.
Yeah. No,
Apologize.
I like being put in the spot. I like it. I'm just trying to think of the best thing I can say here. Uh, and I'm not normally lost for words. Normally, shit just flows out here, and it sometimes sounds good. I mean, what I would say to anyone on the CRO side of things, one of the golden nuggets is see if you're a guy, if you can't spend the time doing this properly, again, don't do it yourself. A lot of this kind of stuff, there's specialists out there that can do that stuff, that are familiar with these tools, that are, I think for Brad and me, we're all round probably marketing guys because we've been in this industry for a while. But as you said, this can be daunting to a lot of people. Going, oh fuck, what's Hotjar? Do I need to learn this? Do I need to learn that? Facebook pixels and all of this stuff. They're talking pixels. There's a whole massive learning curve through all of the stuff that you mentioned. And I think again, delegation is the key to this. If I'm not proficient, for example, I want to implement a really good chat bot on my Facebook page to automate a lot of stuff and try and drive people to my videos and stuff, to be honest, and webinars and live shows. Now, I can't be bothered. I've looked at ManyChat and I've played around with it, and I'm just like, do you know what? I can't be asked. Now, obviously, what we need to tell people is take action on this stuff, because it really can make you go from 2 to 10%. But delegate that stuff out as well. You don't have to be an expert in it. I'm garbage at ManyChat. I don't want to do ManyChat. I don't want to learn it. It's sore on my eyes. I'm too lazy. Get a guy or get a training course on that shit. You do not have to be proficient in all of this stuff. Again, I had buttons in my website, and someone actually said to me, these buttons look like they're something from the 1970s. They were real badass fucking buttons that was leading you to my YouTube channel, my Facebook group, and various other things. But again, delegated, and I spoke to a guy. I'm just like, dude, my buttons are terrible. I don't know what I want. I'm the least creative guy in the world. But can you just sort this shit out for me? Can you just go away, make a change, and I'll tell you if I like it, yes or no? And there are guys out there that can do that stuff for you, so you do not have to. Because a lot of people are going to be overwhelmed with the 30 things. How the hell am I going to add a video to the cart? And they're not a developer, or not this or that. I think just doing these small changes, delegate the stuff out, and just pick what you think is the best part, in terms of what would make the biggest impact to your business, and implement 3 or 4 of these steps. Do not long term implement all 30 if you can, but
and that brings up a great point that my little brother, he always comes to me and he's like, hey, what do you need help with, right?
Mhm.
This is my little brother. He doesn't really understand digital, and I had a period or a point about 2.5 years ago where I think I was crazy.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, I was that just, I mean, I would wake up every morning and I would be staring at the largest elephant that anybody's ever seen with the smallest spoon to eat it with.
Yeah.
Okay. And my brother just kept, he saw it, right? Or he didn't see it, but he knew that the stress level was just so huge. And he said, tell me what you have going on. Okay. And I just kept saying, hey, I got it, I got it, I got it. And I was working like crazy hours. And then the one day he called me and I was pissed off, and he said, why are you always pissed off? You just need to let it all off your chest. And I did,
Mhm.
right? I did. And for like the next 2 hours, he's like, well, what do you have going that, nobody can be as busy as you are? And I remember, that's like brother talk, right?
Yeah.
And challenging. So I let it all off my chest. It took me like 2 hours, right? I'm working on this and this and this and this. And my brother, he was quiet. He listened. And then at the end, he said, you're going to die if you keep doing that, right? He said, and I think that's when I hired my assistant, because I didn't have anybody organizing any of my stuff. So I do not take your advice. I love to do SEO and I love to work in my business. And I wish that everybody would just manage themselves. And I'm a terrible, terrible people manager. And if I don't even want to remember my employees' names most of the time, just to be honest with you. But at the same time, I had all of these people problems. What I realized is I had all of the work was slowing down that was in front of me that I needed to do, and I really wanted to do it because I was having to deal with all of the people issues at the same time. And people issues, not only being my employees, but customers.
Yeah.
And when I hired everybody, and I'm telling on myself, I mean, I think the more stuff I get people that say, "Hey, man, I can't believe you went through that," or whatever, and they tell me all these, they're like, "Wow, kind of in the same place or whatever." But when I hired all of these people and I had all of them working for me, they didn't answer to anybody,
Yeah.
right? So they were all self-managed because in my world, I didn't want to ever manage a person. So I just left them to manage themselves.
Yeah.
Well, that meant that I had 36 people calling me all the time saying, "Hey, what's going on with this? Or how would you do this? Or blah, blah, blah." And it was like one of those old Calgon. Did you ever see one of the Calgon commercials from like the 80s?
Nah.
It was a bubble bath, and you can
Mm-hmm.
find them on the internet. But Calgon was, a woman taking care of the kids and the dogs and all of this other stuff and trying to take care of her husband. She'd lose her mind and she'd say, "Calgon, take me away." And then she'd be in a bubble bath, a Calgon bubble bath. I don't even think they're in business
Um, but I'll tell you another story. The company, I don't know if you know of them, I'm not sure how big they are in America, but there's a company here in the UK called Gymshark. So they sell gym fitness gear and all that stuff now. Apparently they're $1 billion company, but the guy that owns them actually works in the marketing department. He's hired a CEO, he's hired a whole bunch of other people to do all of that stress and all that bullshit ahead of him. And I think that is amazing that this guy just says, like, I'm really comfortable just doing this marketing shit that he does, whatever that,
Sure.
be SEO, videos, whatever. And he just sits in the market department with all his chums doing the day-to-day stuff. He's a billionaire, and there's boardrooms upstairs with people that he employs, arguing over business politics and HR things or whatever. And I think I'm probably like that. Obviously I'm not anywhere near the position that chap's in, but I think if I was, I think it's a very, very smart move.
Well, and when I hired Katie, my assistant, that was I felt so bad for her because I only gave her probably 10% of the workload.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just manage this, manage that, whatever it was. And you talk about a godsend. I mean, just amazing. But I started giving her more, giving her more, giving her more. And then finally I asked her at one point, I would keep asking her, "How stressed out are you?" Right. And then we got it up to like the 90% or 95% of productivity. And she said, "Well, something about, well, what are you working on?" I said, "Well, nothing. You're doing all my work." Right. I just sit around all day now. Right. But that wasn't the truth. In the end, it was roughly 10%. It was answer the phone, answer the emails from clients, do all of that other stuff. And we'd be on calls with people. And I would openly tell them, I don't run anything. Katie does that.
Yeah.
So she was like my assistant CEO.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you had to get through Katie just to get to me.
Yeah.
And that's
That
necessary.
smart people do. Like, again, you mentioned you like diggity. I remember seeing an ad, and I still laugh because it's brilliant just the way he put it up. But one day he put in his Facebook, this was like 6 months ago, he said, "I'm looking for someone. It could be a remote worker." Uh, and it basically says that you've got to wake up at a specific time because he starts work around 7 a.m. in Thailand time. He says, "You'll clean my inbox, get rid of all the junk and do this, this, and this." And basically, he just has a person to clean up his inbox. And why not? Because how often do you go through email after email after email, and it takes time, an hour a day probably to clean out all the shit that's
20, 25 of them, one for each company.
Yeah. So you've got 25 hours a day worth of cleaning junk to do. And it's not humanly possible to do that. So you need to delegate or use something. Otherwise, shit's going to get missed. And, I'm going to assume if you've got 25 companies and your processes are not on point, then either now or in the past, all sorts of shit's been missed that's really important. And that's
we have some double checks in place, but I'll tell you a funny story about Diggity. God, I hope he doesn't watch this. I mean, what I'm about to say is, I signed up for Diggity's email thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so I get this email the one day that he's, we want to hire this person, but the way he worded that email, it was too personalized. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he, hey Brad, I know you're in this market and I'm really looking for somebody to do some SEO, and the pay is like 24 grand a year or something, right? I've never met the guy, but I was pissed off because it was almost like he had personally written me an email offering me like Taco Bell wages to go work for him. And I mean, I remember not a lot gets me heated. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks that I'm really brash and I lose my temper, but I don't. But I actually was pretty heated over that. Like I was going to send him a message, say, "Hey, what the fuck?" Right? You think is this a joke? You know what I mean? And then I looked at it, and finally, after a couple of minutes, I was like, "Yeah, that was just a mass mail email campaign." But you talk about something that if you were on his email list, you got the same one too, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Craig, do you want to just quit everything you're doing and come work for me for $24,000 a year? And you're like, right? Right there, buddy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think obviously he would probably look back and go, that probably wasn't the best way, because he probably didn't realize that there was experienced guys on the list or whatever. So it's one of those things you put out, you take the abuse you get for it, and learn and move on. But
and then there was this thing going around where people were saying like, "What's your problem with Diggity?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't have any problems with anybody. I mean, I do. What's the douchebag Stephen Floyd, right? I have a problem with him because he and I have had kind of a spat, right? I didn't even know who he was. Neil Patel, I have personal problems with Neil Patel. That's from dealing with him personally. But they were like, "Why do you have a problem with Matt Diggity?" I'm like, "I don't. He works in a completely different field than I do." Yeah. You know what I mean? And yeah, but you never interact with Matt Diggity. Okay. That doesn't mean I have a problem with the guy. I actually respect the guy. You can't, if you look at his stuff, you can't hardly ever find anything wrong with his messaging.
No, I mean, he's very, very good at what he does, but I think you can't interact with every marketer out there anyway. You might work from afar as well. The time zone from between you two guys is significant as well. So you're probably not even able to catch each other on Facebook or whatever, without long delays between the messages. But yeah, you can't be friends with everyone. I respect many marketers out there that I don't, know in a personal or talk to. And you can't be friends with everyone.
Yeah, it's just it's kind of interesting how people perceive your relationships with others.
Yeah, it's it's perception. But there you go. That's people causing problems again. People just make shit up.
But I will say this, that Brian Dean will never approve a comment from me on his blog.
Why
and
not?
I have no clue what I did years ago to piss him off. Isn't that crazy? Like I'm on the list.
Yeah.
I'm connected with him on LinkedIn. And I sent him a message and I was like, "Hey man, whatever I did to piss you off, I apologize for, because I never, I'm a fan of your stuff, but
Yeah.
never even responded to that. So God knows what that was about or is about.
He might have just fucking seen one of your heated rants at someone and thought, fuck this. I'm not getting involved in case I'm on this guy's radar. I'll fucking body swerve him.
By association.
Could be something like that, really, though. But who knows? He's probably just that busy, and you might have a familiar name with a guy, some troll, and he's just seen the kind of Bradley thing and went, boom, there he is again, fake name or whatever. But yeah.
One of the guys I'm connected with on Facebook started watching these videos, and he's like, who are you on Facebook? Right? Like, this is completely different between, us doing these videos, my behavior versus all of this other stuff,
It's definitely a different guy. Because sometimes I was like looking at some of your stuff and I'm like, whoo, and I didn't even know whether to put an LOL on there or not in case I fucking come under fire as well. Just like, oh man. But then obviously we spoke a few times or whatever, and
this guy isn't crazy.
Yeah, but I can see why people look at it and go, I ain't fucking talking to this guy because there's enough.
He'll rip my head off. All he said was good afternoon. So get your sponsorship in, right? You're wearing their shirt. You got to talk about who is that and what do they do? And then we got to
global. They basically are a marketplace for age domains. So if you're looking for age domains, whether it for whatever reason you want an age domain, whether it's an affiliate site or whatever, then they can do that. They also do done for you affiliate sites if you're not as skillful as yourself, Bradley, and you can make them yourself and you just want a starting point. They can build it out for you and give you, the opportunity to come in like a lazy bastard like me and, just do your content strategy and your links and whatever else you do to scale up your affiliate website. So, yeah, I've got this on previously for the last show. I don't wear this all day, every day, because I know people are going to say, he's always got a t-shirt on now. But, yeah, I had a show on where...
We'll put it in the description for anybody that wants to check it out. So tell those guys they owe you a little bit more for advertising on somebody else's show.
I will do. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on. Let's cut this short so you can spend some time with your little guy.
Yeah, I'm going to go because he'll not be up for much longer. So,
well, yeah. I appreciate having you, and I put you on the spot with a whole bunch of stuff, and I think you did pretty good.
Cool. No, it's always good to be put in the spot, and yeah, just tag me in it when it's live, and I'll share it with my audience and get some more views to it, mate. Because I think there's a lot of good stuff in there. So
awesome. Well, thank you.
No worries. Take it easy.
Yeah, let's do it again soon.
No worries. See you later on. Cheers. Bye-bye.